Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. So, last episode ended on an insane cliffhanger, am I right? And I can't stop thinking about it. I've been so excited to dive into this episode, if only to find out what the heck happened. But I have to tell you all this. I was at work, and you know when you get a song stuck in your head, and you just keep on, like, it just keeps playing, like, the same chorus or the same verse over and over again? Okay, all y'all that edit AMVs, it probably can't be made because of copyright, but all I've had stuck in my head all day long is Beyonce's Formation, except it's the female Titan and that shot where she sweeps over Eren. That's all I've had stuck in my head all day. I've been like, okay, Eren, now let's get in formation. And it's just like, it's great. That's what's been stuck in my head all day. But I've been so ready to see episode 19. I've been so excited for this because I have to know what happens. Bite, the 57th Expedition Part 3. So Bite could refer to a lot of things. Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is the Titan and the Titan's eating people. But honestly, the female Titan has not eaten anyone. I mean, she's killed a lot of people, but not eaten anybody that we've seen. And Eren's not eaten anyone. So that was kind of Armin's hint that it was a human in Titan form, the fact that the people weren't being eaten. But what I think Bite refers to is Eren chomping down and biting his hand and turning into the Titan. Because if your plan was to have Eren become a Titan and fight other Titans, now's the time. Because otherwise, Levi's squad is about to get yeeted out of the forest by this female Titan. And you know Levi has been waiting for something to happen. And I'm curious to know why he told them to cover their ears. Because like I said in the reaction, I don't think it's a flare. I don't know the flare, I don't know if it'd make enough sound to warrant covering your ears because they've been lighting flares off the whole time. So, what the heck? I don't know. But I'm so curious, y'all. But yeah, it's only been a couple days since I've watched episode 18, but I couldn't wait. I was like, nah, it's gotta happen now. I can't wait any longer. So yeah, we're gonna dive into episode 19. I'm so ready. So I hope y'all are too, but let's do this, shall we? What could happen? What could happen? So let's do this. Let's jump into episode 19, and we're going to start that episode here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh, buddy, this episode was really good. Wow, that did not go the way I thought it was going to go. At all. At all. I'll be honest, I had two scenarios of what I thought was going to happen in this episode. One was so far off base that I was like, there's no way. But the other one turned out to be where it was starting to head, and then it completely went the wrong way. So I thought it was either going to go, my off the rails theory was that Erwin knew another person that could turn into a Titan, and that the audio signal was going to lure that Titan in, and it was going to fight the female Titan before Eren, and it was going to be a big old thing. And that was like my tinfoil crazy theory. I was like, oh yeah, we'll have a third Titan in the middle of all this. No. But the more realistic thought that I had was that Eren was going to turn into a Titan, that Bite was going to refer to him biting his hand, turning into a Titan, and we were going to start a brawl. That is not what happened at all. No, this was far better and far more symbolic, and there's so much with these characters that happened in this episode. It's kind of crazy. So, with this squad, Levi's squad, the idea is that these are all, they've been in the Survey Corps for a while. They've been killing Titans for a while. They all trust each other. And Levi makes the point of saying, I handpicked these people because, one, they don't trust you. I want them to be on the same page as me. If I tell them to do something, they're going to do it without hesitation. I think that the person that's least likely to kill Eren out of all of these people is Hanji, because Hanji would want to experiment on Eren and figure out how Eren ticks, right? So Hanji isn't going to do anything crazy to Eren, but the others would kill him. And Levi's like, that's what I'm banking on. He's like, if you go crazy and you are a threat to us too, I'm not losing my men. We're going to kill you. And so there's that imminent threat. And Levi makes a very good point. A point about Eren that I've thought since the start of this series that's kind of been drilled into our heads, and it's that Eren's kind of a monster. He's kind of a loose cannon. It's not that he can turn into a Titan. It's like he's a wild animal that cannot be tamed. And Levi has that moment in the jail cell. Levi's like, all right, cool. And I think that on the surface, Levi doesn't appear to be anywhere similar to Eren, but it's kind of like monsters know monsters sort of thing. I bet Levi knows exactly how Eren feels, and he understands Eren completely, but Levi's got 15 years of experience over Eren. Levi's like, I've been on this earth 15 more years than you. I've seen 15 more years worth of stuff. I've had all this time to hone my skills and control myself, but I know what you're going through, and I know that no matter what we do, in the end of the day, you're going to decide what you want to do, and you're going to do it. He's like, we can't stop you, obviously. We can just ask you to trust us, and that's all we can do. And it's definitely shell-shocking. This is the first time, I think, since episode 5, we've really seen Eren be this terrified. Because normally Eren's really cocky. He's like, yeah, we got this. We're going to do this. Or he's enraged. Or he's mad. But he is petrified running through the forest at this scene. Because he's like seeing it for the first time like on the scale that everyone else is seeing it. Because during Trost, he was in the Titan body. So he wasn't seeing what they were seeing. So, and of course, the people are like, our orders, Captain. And I like that the crazy thing is, Levi's squad, other than Levi, none of them knew about Erwin's trap. None of them knew. And I wonder if part of it was because Levi was guessing that this Titan, if it's intelligent enough, is going to understand orders. Kind of like what Armin figured out. He's like, oh, it can understand us. So if he told his troops, hey, we're going to lure this Titan into a trap, then she would have heard and went the other way, right? And that wouldn't have worked. But because they didn't know, it seemed more realistic. They were just marching ahead. And man, this whole plan could have gone south. If Eren had not trusted his teammates, then they would have all been screwed, right? And all of Erwin's work would have been for nothing. So, yeah, it's good that Eren learned a lesson this episode, because otherwise, Attack on Titan might be over. The whole series could have been over. And so I guess the auditory shell was to notify Erwin that they were close. To notify him that, hey, we're near you. Get the stuff ready. We're on our way. And so, yeah, that's just, it's genius. Genius strategizing here. I thought for a second that maybe the auditory shell was going to, like, distract the Titan or, like, knock its senses out or something. But no, that wasn't the case. Not at all. It was just to signal them. And Levi's like, our squad's job is to keep this brat from getting a single scratch on him. It's to protect him, even if it costs us our lives. And I like that Eren's like, wait, it wasn't just to watch over me? You're keeping me safe? like of course they are. And yeah, they're going to keep going on horses. And I like that Eren, of course, is us, the audience equivalent. Eren is asking the questions we, the audience, are asking, like, well, how long? Why are we doing this? Don't you see what's happening behind us? It's right behind us. It's killing our men. Why are we just sitting here? Why are we on horseback? Why aren't we doing something? And what I love about this moment where Eren is questioning everything is it's such a parallel and a contrast to Jean. It's because back at Trost, Jean was having this revelation as a leader of what you have to sacrifice for the greater good. So in Trost's battle, Jean was having to reconcile with the fact that, yeah, people died under his watch because they had to, because one person had to die to save the entire group, right? And Jean was able to come to grips with that by the end of Trost and realize that, no, this was for, we lost the battle to win the war sort of scenario. Right? And that's the exact same thing that's happening in this episode. But Eren's not reaching that conclusion. Not immediately, anyway. He is doing the opposite of Jean. He's like, our men are dying. Why aren't you doing anything? Maybe we could have saved him. And that paneling to all of Levi's squad as he's saying it, like Gunther, it zooms in on Gunther's face, and his face is in shadows, and he looks so, like, not pissed off, but he looks, like, sad and disturbed, because, yeah, they all know what Eren's saying. They all have the same thoughts raging through their heads. They're like, yeah, we know. We know it sucks because these guys are giving their lives. Well, we're just running away. But the greater good, the overall goal is to lure her to the trap, and the overall goal is to save you. So yeah, these guys, they know what they're stepping into. They know they're sacrificing their lives to help us win the war. They get it. But Eren is not a natural born leader. Absolutely not. No, Eren is not a good leader. Armin is a good leader. Jean is going to be a good leader. I feel Levi is a good leader, and Erwin is a good leader. Those four, I'm like, they're the most leaderly because they have a good balance of head and heart. I feel like Erwin is very intelligent, but he knows to rely on his teammates and his comrades that they'll get the job done. Levi comes across as cold and calculating and heartless, but as we've seen from the start of his introduction, Levi cares an awful lot about his teammates and awful lot about his comrades, and he cares about their well-being. He cared about Eren in the transformation scene, and we'll talk about that, but Levi knows who to trust and when to trust and what's going to be affected, what we can affect and what we can't affect. So he makes a good leader. Armin and Jean and Pixis all have those same qualities as well. Eren does not have those qualities. Eren, it gets way too hasty. It took us an entire lap through a forest for him to come to realize that maybe I should trust my teammates, that we've been building up over weeks and weeks of training with them. Maybe I should listen to them. Eren gets way too hasty, and he really just wants to, he's impulsive. And that impulsiveness can lead to a bit of selfishness. And that is what deters him from being, I think, the leader that these other characters are. And I like that our main protagonist has that big flaw. It's a big flaw, but I like that he has that because then it allows him to interact with these others and learn from them, and it makes it a more compelling story. But yeah, Petra and Gunther, God, and Oro, you can just tell they're like, we get it, kid. And Petra finally being the one, like, trust us, like we trust you, and then getting that, and after seeing this episode, this whole first part is so much better, because after you backtrack and see where they had to deal with to get to this point, it's like, Eren, dude, we just watched everything y'all went to. Trust your teammates. But then Oro says the thing, though, that Eren will absolutely not do. And Eren's biggest flaw is that Eren's like, F the police. He's like, I don't listen to, I'm an adult. I'm not going to be part of the system. He is like, no. And I really thought he was going to bite his hand. I thought he was going to do it. I'm like, he's not going to listen. And when Levi gave him the go-ahead, I was like, oh, it's over. He's going to do it. Because Levi's like, no, he's a monster. We can't cage him. It's going to be up to him in the end. There's nothing we can do about it. And Petra's like, come on. After all we've been through, you're going to do this now? You're only allowed to do that if your life's in danger. You promised us. But see, Eren's never really had to keep a promise with anyone before. He's had to keep promises for others. Like, he's having to keep a promise for his dad to get into the basement. And he's kept promises... he's had promises kept to him for Mikasa and Armin, but he's never really had to rely. He's always been like, I don't want to rely on people. Like, during the whole training montage, his whole thing was, I don't want to have to rely on you, Mikasa. And then during Tross, he's like, I don't want to have to rely on you. And he's trying to pull the same thing here with Levi's squad, and Levi's like, fine, do it. But that and the image, the close-up of Levi's face, that's so telling how much trust Levi is placing to him. He's like, fine. He's a monster. He'll do what he wants. Has nothing to do with the Titan ability. It's just, you can't just suppress him. He's going to do whatever he's going to do. He cannot feel like he's caged down. He's not going to submit to anyone. So just let him do it. Fine. And then we get the flashback. But I like that Levi's like, Eren, the difference between your decision and ours is experience. We know what it's been like to be in these situations against the Titans where it seems like hope is lost, where it seems like you're going to lose and people are dying for no reason. He's like, but we've been doing this for years and we know what's at stake and we know how to overcome. So you're a rookie. You are a greenhorn. You have no clue. You just happen to have this amazing ability, but you have no clue how to harness it or use it yet to its full extent. So you just need to trust us. He's like, but you don't have to rely on experience. Sure, go right ahead. Choose. Believe in yourself. or believe in the Survey Corps and me. So it's a question of, do you rely on yourself, or are you going to also depend upon others? I don't know. I never have. I love that. I love that Levi says, I can believe in my own ability or the choices of the companions I trust. But I don't know how it's going to turn out. And I'll choose whatever I'm going to regret the least. So yeah, he's like, either choice, you're going to regret it either way. You're going to either regret not taking the opportunity and doing it, or you're going to regret following us when maybe you could have had a chance to stop it. He's like, there's no way of knowing for certain how things are going to go down. You just have to believe in yourself and believe in those around you. But you shouldn't just believe on yourself. Oh, God. And he's about to do it, and Petra's like, please have faith and trust us. And then I love that he looks down, and as he looks down, that's when we flash back. And I love that the looking down is when he notices the bite mark on her hand. That's so good. So good. So we get this flashback, and the squad's there. And Levi's method of getting Eren out of danger is pretty straightforward. He's like, I'm just going to cut you out. I'm just going to cut you out, and maybe you'll lose some limbs, but you'll probably grow those back. I mean, you grew a tooth back. You'll be fine. And Eren's like, well, wait, I don't know exactly how to do that. It just kind of happens. He's like, nah, you'll be fine. So basically, Levi is throwing the gauntlet down, saying, look, this is what's going to happen. You're going to grow your limbs back, probably, and if not, oh well. But if you choose to turn into a Titan, this is our plan of helping you. So don't just willy-nilly decide to become a Titan thinking, oh, we'll rescue you scot-free. No, if you turn into a Titan, our method is going to be pretty brutal, and you might lose a leg. So it's a choice. It's a chance. But I love that description where he's like, it'll just grow back like a lizard's. Creeps me out. I love Levi, just for the record. Like, this episode, he gained a lot more. Like, the more Levi's on screen, the more I really appreciate his character, because of everything here. Like, so are you saying that you don't want there to be any danger or sacrifice? He's like, dude, we're at war with these Titans. You think that everything's just going to work out and you're not going to have to sacrifice anything? That's a great line too. There's so many good lines in this episode. So many good lines. And he's like, we're prepared to sacrifice for you if you're prepared to sacrifice for us. It's like, and again, Eren has never had to really, Mikasa and Armin have always blindly trusted Eren no matter what. They've always had trust in Eren and faith in him that he'll make the right call, and they'll do anything for him. But this is the first time Eren's really interacted with a group of people that are not going to do everything for him. They're not going to cave to his will. That's the thing about Mikasa. I love Mikasa, but she is very emotionally compromised around Eren. She would do anything for him, even if he'd do nothing back. And, he would do something back for her, but that emotional compromise is why she's not in this group, because she would help him in any way possible. These guys are keeping him in check with reality. And I love Hanji saying, like, she's in the shadows and she's like, Hanji is like, can I do the experiments? I love Hanji. They are wonderful. I absolutely love it. And Levi's like, it's risky. We need to investigate and know ahead of time. And Hanji's like, I want to be in charge of planning. I love how excited Hanji is to experiment on Eren and to find out more. And their eyes are just, Hanji's eyes are so wide and just like, yes. I love how mad scientist Hanji gets. It's absolutely wonderful. And they put him in the well, old Walking Dead style, and letting him transform. And the thing about him, he bit his hand over and over and over again until it was raw, until it was bleeding and his mouth was bleeding from all the blood, and he can't become a Titan. So we established some really important things about the Titan transformation. Some really important things. One, biting yourself and self-inflicting wounds is not enough. That's good to know. That's good to know. That's good to know, because for a second I was like, man, I wondered, because I was like, surely Eren's hurt himself in his lifetime. Surely he fell down the stairs, or bonked his head, or did something to injure himself in the past that could have triggered this transformation. But it's not enough just to hurt yourself. That's good to know. You have to have a goal. a goal in mind, and for him it was reaching down and getting the spoon, and that was enough to trigger it, which is kind of terrifying too, because it's like, how much do you have to focus on this goal for it to work? How much you got to focus on this goal? It makes sense now why he turned into the Titan in the belly of the old man Titan, because he didn't have his arm to bite. He didn't bite his hand during that moment. He was just thinking, my goal is to get out and to survive, and that was enough to trigger the transformation. That makes so much sense now. That checks off that box of how that happened. It would make sense for the female Titan. The female Titan has a goal. I'm assuming it's to either kill or catch Eren. That's the goal. That's fueling the Titan body. Okay. The goal when he became the Nightmare Fuel Titan for Eren was saving Mikasa and Armin. Fair enough. And the goal of moving the boulder and everything was before. So a goal. That makes a lot of sense. And that kind of makes sense to why he was so... Once he got into that one goal, it was like, let's do the thing. So wanting to kill the Titans, that was a goal. Drove him to dismantling a lot of the Titans in that kind of perfect form, I guess. But it would make sense for the Colossal and Armored Titans why they are able to transform so much and in such a state, because their goals are pretty easy too. Like, one is to crush the gate and one is to knock the gate over. So I'm glad we found that out. But yeah, Levi's not wrong. If Eren can't turn into a Titan, that kind of throws everything out of whack. And Levi's like, figure out your body. Figure it out, because otherwise it's pointless for us to even have this mission, because it's not going to do us any good if you can't turn into a Titan. We're just walking into a suicide trap. So I like Oro says, this means you're just more human than I thought. Because it's like, you're not just a mindless monster who inflicts harm on yourself and instantly transforms. It's like you are human, more so than I imagined at first. But here's the thing. All of them in Levi's squad were ready to kill him the moment he became that weird. And he wasn't even huge. He wasn't even huge like when he was the Nightmare Fuel Titan. He was just like a little lump. A little like half a rib cage and a little scrawny arm. Like, that was it. He didn't even look that scary. But they were ready to straight up murder him. Because that's what they've been trained to do. They've been trained to kill Titans. And in that moment, they thought he was disobeying orders and trying to turn into a Titan without understanding the process, like Levi told him to understand, and they were ready to just go to town and kill him because they didn't trust him. And they didn't know until the dinner scene that Eren, it wasn't his intention to turn into a Titan. It just happened. And there was that spark, right? There was that spark. So interesting. So it's not just self-inflicted. That makes things a lot scarier too, because that means that anybody with the right goal set in mind that knows they have the ability to turn into a Titan can just do it. They can just turn into a Titan without having to inflict any harm. They could just touch something and it'd be like, okay, Titan form. That implication is really scary, because that makes it to where you don't know who is who, right? So, and yeah, all the squad members were ready to kill him, and they all looked like they were ready to kill him. That's the crazy part, is Eren being like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought we were all friends. And they're like, mm-mm. Okay, so I want to pause this here. I've got Crunchyroll pulled up. Smoke rounds. Signal rounds fired by small handguns using gunpowder. A small tube with the round is swapped each time. And there's red, black, and green. But we also saw there was a purple one, too. Jean had the purple one for emergencies. Smoke rounds, too. The signal color changes per message. Red is Titan-sided. Green is change course. Black is aberrant-sided. And then purple, as we established with Jean, is the emergency. Huh. Fun times. So yeah, what I love about this scene, of course, Hanji's excited. Hanji's like, yes, this is what I wanted to happen. And their little blush and everything is wonderful. And jumping for joy, it's like, yes. Hanji's like, you're transformed, this is great. But Levi is so cool under pressure. And I think it's because Levi knew that this was an accident. But Levi, again, being extremely concerned for his comrades and his teammates, and that includes Eren. And so while these guys are freaking out, asking Eren what he was thinking and why he's doing this, Levi's like, I want to make sure that he's okay. And so he makes everybody stand down. And I love that he asks Eren, he's like, whenever Eren gets out of there and pulls himself out, and he's like, how do you feel? Like, Levi is compassionate and does care for his team members, but he's also extremely rational and understands how this all works and what decisions need to be made. So Levi, again, gains my respect more and more the more I see him. Like, his intuition, I love it. His intuition telling him that it's okay. And then, of course, Eren's like, I don't feel very good. And then, of course, Hanji's excited because you find out the Titans, when they're in that skin form, are super hot without the skin to stop it, and then immediately starts disintegrating. And, of course, the thing about the spoon is interesting because as we've talked about, the Titans don't attack animals. They don't really affect any of their surroundings other than like if they destroy a building or something. But the spoon didn't change. It didn't get warped. Nothing happened to the spoon. What the heck? How can something be so hot that it like burns Hanji's hand to touch it, but then the spoon is left unharmed? Show, your flaws of physics amaze me. I need to know more. I need to know more. But yeah. I love this conversation between Levi and Eren. That Levi's like, yeah, they doubt you. I picked them because they doubt you. And then the moment where he comes back in and Eren explains that I didn't realize what I was doing. It just happened. And so the moment that they all realize that Eren's telling the truth, that they all say that they're disappointed in themselves and they're like, we should have trusted you and we didn't. And them all biting their own hands as hard as they can to show, to know what he felt. That was, I thought they'd keep biting their hands. I thought that was going to keep happening, but it didn't. And Levi has such a poker face. You can't ever see what he's thinking. It's interesting. Interesting. But I love it. I love that they trust him so much. They're like, Eren, we trust you. We're putting our lives in your hands. We're trusting you, so trust us. We're relying on you, so you need to rely on us. Like, it's a two-way street. And I love that Levi is just watching Eren to see that he soaks that all in and that he gets it. And then we cut back to the present, and it's so good. It's so good. He sees the bite mark on her hand, and then I cannot express to you how much I love the animation of Eren's resolve. His resolve to trust others. Our little boy is growing up and learning. But Levi being like, you're taking too long. Decide what you're going to do. And those eyes, that expression, that animation, I'll go forward. And Levi's like, oh, did you learn something in these last 20 seconds? And they all trust. Just as she like rakes a guy across a tree. Oh my God. But that was it. Everyone chose to go on, even if abandoning our comrades. And Levi has been looking forward this entire time. And he looks so pleased. Levi, you can't really tell. He's not really smiling, but there's a look in his eye. He's like, okay, this kid made the right decision. Almost like he's proud of him. It's like, ah! And then I did not see the trap coming. Did not. That was wonderful. Springing the trap. And they all look kind of surprised. Like, I guess they didn't know exactly when it was going to happen, but she got really close to grabbing Eren and was so ready. And then all of a sudden they just sprung the trap. And firing all of the grapplings at her, all the arrows at once. And Erwin Smith just being a boss, just being like fire, like, oh my God. And the arrows from the OP, I love it. But they are coming from all angles, all up in her. I don't know. I could see her getting out of it, but I'm like, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. I could just see her maybe reverting back, the Titan shell collapsing and losing all of its power from this attack. I could see that happening, but I don't know. And then Levi says, advance a bit further, tether the horses, and switch to maneuver gear. You guys will be off on your own for a while. Eldo lead the squad, and Eldo's the one with the blonde hair. You're a good distance away from the Titan. Hide Eren and take my horse. And Levi, of course, is going to go back to fight her. And it looks like she's frozen, but they're going to try to take her alive. They're going to do the same maneuver that they said they were going to do on Eren. They're going to cut her out from the back the same way and be like, well, I guess if she loses an arm, she loses an arm, but we're going to cut her out. Don't underestimate us, fool. I get a little worried. I get a little worried because whenever Eren's hopeful and is like, yeah, we can do it, that usually means something bad is going to happen. So I don't like the ending of this episode for the fact that they're all like, the Survey Corps, don't underestimate us. And I'm like, don't underestimate this female Titan either, right? But I don't want anything bad to happen to Eren, to Levi or Erwin or Eren or any of them. But you did well leading it here. And I like that Levi takes none of the credit. He's like, the men in the rear guards died buying us that time. It was all their doing. Yep. And then I hope they don't wet themselves from me tearing them out. Oh, it's so good. It's so freaking good. But yeah, this episode was wonderful. I absolutely loved this. This was great. But yeah, you know. Again, I always get nervous whenever characters in shows like these are super confident and they're like, everything's going our way. And I'm like, she could easily get out of that. It's going to hurt her. And she's probably going to lose that Titan body after getting out. But she could get out and retreat if she really wants to, I think. I don't know if they're going to be able to cut her out or not. That seems... I don't know. I feel like I don't know if it's going to go well. I don't know. Again, I don't know, question mark. But y'all, this episode was so good. So good. Setting up so much stuff with the Levi squad and Eren and that trust. Not at all how I thought it was going to go, but much better. So I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. Obviously, please no spoilers or tag spoiler comments. Be like, Romania, please don't read anymore, or Romania, don't read after this. Just tag them for me. But I'm curious to know your thoughts. This was such a good episode. This is right up there in my top 5, I think, for the season. Yeah. And we still got 6 more to go. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll talk to y'all again soon with episode 20 of Attack on Titan. Bye.